Yeah, there's so many ideas when I think of that music, what it reminds me of.
I love that song, Steve. Oh, I'm sorry.
It has a to me it has a to mention about it right quick. It has a early 90s new jack swing kind of feel mixed in, and I had talked we had talked about this a little while back. It also reminds me a little bit of the game Pac-Man mixed in together.
True.
Um, but I'm glad everybody could be here. Jan's alongside with me. Hey, Jan.
Hey, how you doing? Hi, everybody.
Right. So what? So what's going on?
You know what, Steve? I heard it again on the news because I have to pay a lot of attention to the news because I do have a channel, Save Money More with Jan channel. And, I talk about saving money, obviously, but I have to keep abreast of the news. And one of the things that keeps popping up is that since a few years ago, our grocery budget has increased about 30% overall in general, Steve. So I'm thinking about method, I'm thinking about strategy. So one of the strategies that I actually for myself, I have tried this literally for myself. I sit down, I really try to be very methodical and plan a strategy. If we're going 30% higher than a few years ago, then it stands to reason for me to try this method. And what's the method? It's basically this in a nutshell. Cut things back 30% without feeling the pinch. In other words, for every $10 that I decide to spend on groceries, I would like to trim it down to about $7. But Jan, how can you do this? Believe it or not, when there's a will, there's a way. I don't eat as much meat that I might have eaten a few years ago. I don't feel badly about it. I look at it in my case as a benefit. So for me, less red meat is very helpful in
Hmm.
that area. That's just an example. The other thing is to generally just maybe not always have 3 meals a day. Sometimes I'm not saying that don't eat. In my case, sometimes I rather just have a very, very late breakfast and then maybe have an earlier dinner at 4 or 5 o'clock, and maybe a piece of fruit at 6 o'clock, and call it a day. These are little tricks that I have learned. Also, there's so many more methods. Steve, I know that you have some really great tips coming up, and definitely please share them. But we're up 30% overall on groceries. We have to kind of
Hmm.
work with that.
Well, yeah, actually, I do have some pretty good tips to mention. In fact, there's three of them here. The first one, and I have them set up in a bullet, point manner, which helps a lot. So the first one is when you're shopping, try to stick to your grocery budget. Don't be shopping. You have your shopping list. Don't go out on a tangent. Oh, cookies or something that you may not want or need. Because let me tell you, in a grocery store, it's very easy to get tempted by something. So if you're trying to stay within a certain amount of money when you go grocery shopping, stay with it. Don't try to wander out of that, because then if you're not careful, whatever you were considering spending on groceries for that shop could wind up costing you 30, 40, 50, might even be double what you spent. But that all depends on, that's why I always say, and I've mentioned it time and time and time again, try to make sure before you go shopping. This is the big one. Eat something. Make sure you have something on your stomach before you go, because if you don't and you go shopping, everything's going to look good to you.
You're not kidding. Even the food that maybe you don't even like because you're so hungry at the moment, you have a different sense of exaggeration. Steve, I just want to throw something in. Speaking of before you go to the grocery store, that is one excellent tip. The other thing is, and I'm sure that you have mentioned this on your channel, but it's worth repeating. Check and assess what you have in your refrigerator, in
Hmm.
your cupboards, in your pantry to avoid duplicate shopping.
Yeah.
That money you're tying up duplicating that you don't need, you could put to something else.
Yeah, yeah, you could. So always make sure, look over what you have before you leave to the grocery store because you don't want to come back. Oh, I already had three of these, or oh, I had two of those. You don't want to run in, to a duplicate. Now, the second one I have of a bullet point is pretty good too. Only buy food your family actually eats. Don't buy something that you might think, oh, they may like that or they may like. No, be sure because the last thing you want to do is buy something and then it just sits on the shelf or sits in the fridge. Nobody touches it and then it goes bad.
That's the truth. And it turns into a waste. And sometimes, Steve, people say, yeah, but that thing is on sale. Great. The thing is on sale. It might be helpful to the family that loves it. If my family doesn't love it, sale or no sale, I'm not going to purchase it because if I'm not going to use it or the family goes, ooh, it's a waste, then it's a waste.
Yeah, it is a waste. I mean, that's why I have gotten very particular about what I buy. If I buy something I know that I do like, but I might not be certain somebody else in my household likes it. If I find out, oh, they don't care for it, and I had already had what I wanted of it, to be fair and let everybody have an opportunity, that's not going to make me want to buy it. I hate to buy something and focus solely on me because that would make me feel selfish about it. Because I do like to share, with other people. And if nobody else likes it, well, yeah, okay. It's all right to buy for myself. I might like it, but if they don't, mm, because I have been known to buy something like I just mentioned and eat or have up to a certain point of what I want so I can share it with somebody else. But if
Steve, that's a very good point. I
you
appreciate
like
that.
that, yeah. So if you're not going to share with me or you're not a big fan of it, then I'm less likely to buy it. If I did buy it, I would buy it on an occasion where it was solely for myself. Like I would buy a smaller amount, you know.
Exactly.
So try to make sure the food that you do buy, it is what your family will eat. Try, definitely keep that in mind because you really don't want anything to spoil or go bad.
Not at things 30% higher than they were a few years ago.
No,
Can't play
no,
that game now.
no,
No.
you can't. And the third one is really good. In fact, I just did a video about it not too long ago, and I'm going to emphasize or elaborate a little bit on it. And the
Excuse
third
me.
one is this: take advantage of rain checks when necessary. Now, I will tell you now, here's a good example. I've got two rain checks down here. In fact, I've got one right here in my hand. This is a rain check. This is from my public store. It is for $1.25 a box, four for $5. Um, you know, Muller's pasta. I have it right here. They didn't have it in stock. In fact, they've been out of stock now for about 10 days. It's a pasta called vermicelli. It's the perfect pasta. It's not too thin, not too thick. 5, 6 minutes, you've got your pasta. My dad loved it. That was his favorite pasta. I like it too. So keep in mind, I've got this. I haven't used it. It's good for 30 days. I've got until June the 6th. Wednesday, I happen to be at another Publix down the street, about 2.5 miles up. They had it in stock, so I bought four. Now, I took advantage of the sale, but let's say in a couple of weeks, this store right near me does stock it and gets it back. Then I can present this and I get the sale item again,
Wow.
even if it's not on sale. So that is an advantage of a rain check. If you've got another whatever grocery store you have, if you have another location near you, like in this case it would be Publix, go to it if it's not far out of your way. Get what you need. You still have this for a later venture. And if it's not on sale, like I said,
That's amazing. I love that
you
idea.
get the sale item at a later time, even if it's not on sale. So you benefit twice.
You know what I love about this, Steve? These are ways, and these are ways, and again, and you and I have spoken about this several times. We can't understand why some people undervalue the purpose of saving a dollar here or a dollar there. It literally adds up. Steve, can I tell you something?
Hmm.
Last month, actually, sorry, scratch that. The beginning of this month, May, I intentionally wrote down a few things where I saved a dollar here and a dollar there. And literally, it was like adding up to like $37. Now we're only in like the middle of the month. If I already saved the $37, just imagine if I continue on that path, how much I could save. I could save up to $100. You know, it takes some people 5 or 6 hours of labor to earn $100. So for me, just
Uh,
cutting corners or being a little more mindful, and it wasn't so filled with effort. It was rather effortlessly, actually,
hmm.
and just a little bit of method, a little bit of intention.
Yes, no, that's absolutely right. Yeah, but you know, coming back to these tips, the three that were given, as long as you abide and you stick with you know with these three, and I'll tell you what. Coming back to the rain check for a minute, I'll tell you what made me come to that conclusion. Well, the first time I had not seen it on the shelf, um, I didn't think nothing of it. But the next time I went back a few days later, you know, I had gotten these on the 6th of May, a few days back. That's what made me think, okay, they don't have it. I'll just get a rain check. It just came to me out of the blue. Because a lot of people don't. This is an old thing. I know a rain check is something from many years ago, um, but they are good for what stores that still give them out. I know there are some stores that may not or don't do it because again, this is a very, very, very old thing. Back in the olden days, 70s, 60s, 50s, but it's still relevant today. Why? Everybody has to buy groceries. It's as simple as that.
Definitely. My parents used to take advantage of rain checks whenever possible. They wouldn't say, well, gee, you promised this as a sale. It's not my fault if you ran out, whatever. So they were like, no, we want you to get the sale because, they appreciate it and they respect the customer. I think those stores that still honor rain checks, to me, those are the most reputable ones, in my opinion.
Hmm. Yeah, well, Publix, I mean, like I said, they've been around. Now, Publix is not the type of store I would go and grab a cart and go down each and every aisle and do a full blown shop. No. Honestly, Publix can be an expensive grocery store, but their BOGOs and their sale items are pretty good. Their pricing. And second, I was just talking to you about this before we got on to record. Before I would go to a fast food place, Wendy's, Whataburger, Burger King, anything fast food, I would rather just go to a Publix deli, get a sub fresh made, or maybe some chicken or a wrap, their macaroni, their potato salads, things like that are all fresh. They're all good. I would rather go and eat out of their deli They even have a thing with hot food. If you want to make up a plate with vegetables and your meat, you can go that route too. I would rather eat out of a Publix deli than to go to a fast food restaurant. I'm not even kidding.
Yeah. Oh
Um,
yeah.
their drink
No, I
selection,
get the factor on that for sure.
their drink selections, their lemonades, their iced teas, what they have. It's for those that know Publix that are down in the South or down this way will know what I'm talking about. Or like again, as I've said before, if you're from up north and you've come down to visit, you will know that Publix is, you know, good stuff. All right, Jan. Well, thanks for stopping by and
Thanks for
being with
having
me.
me here. I
Sure.
appreciate it.
Yeah. So I hope all of you guys, you can have a great rest of your weekend, and we'll just see you back here next time. Bye.
Bye bye.